You're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by
Esteban Badaliaco.
and
Antonio Andolini. Wait,
well, now
no, that's wrong.
Steven Badaliaco, as always.
and
Aunt G. Yo.
I felt really left out. I was like, I missed the bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you had every opportunity.
No, I didn't know you were going to do it, and I went first.
Drinking Mexican beer.
Yeah.
It's Cinco de
Get
Mayo.
on board. It's Cinco de Mayo.
It is.
What are you doing?
We're celebrating. Happy Cinco de Mayo, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. How many people watching think that's Mexican Independence Day?
Oh, a lot.
A lot do.
It's not.
No.
You're here to learn some shit today,
As
boys.
the tagline of this movie will tell you.
It's a battle.
It's not a party. All right. So who knew this movie existed before I sent it in the group chat?
Zero. None.
None of us.
None.
I did.
I can't believe you found it.
So I was like,
No one has seen this.
no. I was like, what is coming up like that we can tie a movie into, right? That we could talk about. So I was like looking through, and I was like, is there a Cinco de Mayo movie about the battle? And it turns out there is now, and I sent it. And I watched the trailer, and I was like, this doesn't look that bad. And the end tagline goes, it's not a party.
Yeah. After that, it was just kind of like, yep, we got to do this. We're in.
I think that probably comes from, like, in Mexico, nobody really gives a shit about Cinco de Mayo.
It's like an American thing.
Yeah, it's an excuse for college
drink.
kids to get drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before this, did you know what Cinco de Mayo was celebrating?
Yes. I know about the
Like
battle.
before
of
the
Puebla.
battle, you knew?
Brian and I have actually had extensive conversations in the past about
Yes.
the
Oh,
Battle of
yeah.
Puebla for no reason.
Yeah. Just on the side, we had a big conversation about it one day.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm glad you picked this,
Oh, yeah.
even though Steve picked it.
Steve picked it.
We picked it. It was a
group
team
choice.
effort.
I think
Sometimes
the
we do
movie
that.
was entirely disposable. It's not that great,
Yeah.
but the subject matter is fascinating, and I'm looking forward to talking about it.
The closest movie that we've watched that I would compare this to is Charge of the Light Brigade.
Yes,
Sure.
It's similar where like,
has some of the same players,
yeah, but like
historically speaking.
the first part is like a little light
Yeah,
and like it's kind of irrelevant. And then you're just waiting for the event to happen. And the event that they portray is pretty fucking cool.
pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same thing in Light Brigade, but Light Brigade is a slog to get here, and this is like
This is good.
pretty quick.
Snappier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to say this, though. Some of the techniques and tropes in this movie reminded me of Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee.
Okay,
Yeah. Map transitions.
there was some map transition.
There's a hefty amount.
Yeah.
So I kind of reminded like, oh, this seems like a made-for-TV film, and it's not.
Well, the budget is very low by American standards.
Yes.
Yes.
It's $6 million in US dollars and 80 million pesos. It's one of the most expensive Mexican movies ever made.
Wow.
They got
couldn't
bigger
afford-
Mexico not known for having
film production.
Yeah.
Film,
They
yeah.
could not
They got-
afford tripods.
Look, they got bigger problems than fucking trying to make movies.
right.
You know,
yeah.
like when you could spend $100 million on like a bunch of like bullshit Marvel movies, you're doing pretty good. They don't have that luxury. They're like, I guess we'll put some guys in a field and just blow up dirt next to them.
Throw some blood on them, they'll be fine.
But isn't that kind of the story of Mexico, which is what we're getting into here now? You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Sure.
they had probably the roughest 19th century, one of the roughest 19th centuries out there.
Mexico is always taking it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's not from us, it's from Europe and
Yeah, I mean, look at the 1800s, right? At the start, they're New Spain. They're a Spanish colony. They have a war for independence. They're
don't they have California and Texas?
Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
They have a war for independence. Then they're an empire. Then they're a republic. Then they get raped by the United States. Then they get raped by the French. Then they get raped again by the French.
A lot of raping. a lot of raping.
And then there's a couple of military dictatorships in there.
Yep.
And they round out the century by having a giant revolution. So, yeah, it's endemic problems. So There's one bright spot, and it's the Battle of Puebla, which, you know, we're going to find out long term, really not that important.
No. It kind of delays the inevitable, though it is a big victory.
Yeah.
So Mexico obviously is part of their problem. Look, I'm going to be an idiot here. I'm not too familiar with the agriculture of Mexico. Is it like difficult for them to grow stuff?
No, that's never been. It's not like they're starving.
Like, why do they struggle so much? Is it they just get exploited by bigger powers?
Location.
Yeah,
And obviously now drug lords.
yeah.
You also have to remember the location is in between two major continents.
One
Like
of the
two major countries, and
one of the
problem.
things that will play into the crisis that this movie depicts is they were one of the, if not the biggest silver producers in the world.
Okay.
In the 17 and 1800s. And part of the process in separating that silver from like impure metals when you mine it is
You got to get Yukon Cornelius. He's all the way in the North Pole. He comes down. Silver and gold.
it requires mercury to do that. And when they
And he's all the way on Mount Olympus.
wow.
Holy shit. That's a reach.
When they broke away from Spain, the Spanish cut off the mercury tap, they supplied all of it. So they were unable to.
They couldn't take anyone's temperature.
Right. Right.
And the silver mines went to shit. This dried up tons of foreign investment. They owe money to people.
Yep.
And they always seem to be in massive debt.
That's kind of where this movie.
That's where this movie gets going.
Gets going. Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
debt.
So should we set the stage kind of where the movie is?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he kind of started it, but yeah, we can go a little more.
Well, I think we could say like exactly where they are,
Yeah,
right?
sure. I guess I'll give a quick rundown of a few decades of Mexican history.
Sure.
All right. So roughly in the early 1820s, the Mexican War of Independence is over, and the conservatives who forged an unlikely alliance with the more liberal parties kind of seize control of the government and decide to form an empire.
They want a monarch.
They elect an emperor. Hi, get him.
Oh, I get him. Thank you.
That's two
Cheers.
episodes in a row. You've been delivered.
Wow. Get him popping with a
better than
Coke
you?
Zero. Get him's the best.
So yeah, they make an empire. It lasts for like a year before it's overthrown by rebels. They kind of make this Articles of Confederation style thing where there's no central government, nobody has any power, nobody can do anything. So what happens is you get like military commanders who have the real power, and they turn themselves into like
Warlords.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the bad guy from Zorro. This is where he comes from.
Really?
Yeah. You know, he's like a local, just bad dude who runs the like patronage system.
And you need Antonio Banderas.
Yes, to come and save everyone. Keep in mind, Mexico is like one of the largest countries on earth at this point.
Yeah. It has a huge area of
Massive
land.
territory. And this stretches from Oregon down to like Costa Rica.
Which seems to never work well when you get too big.
Well, it's incredibly diverse, and there's tons of competing interests, and nobody really has any reason to get along with each other.
Like you have Texans.
Well, the Comanche and the Apache are making problems
Apache Ramos.
in the northern deserts, and their solution was, let's invite Americans to come and live in Tejas.
Always a good idea.
This is the worst decision anyone's ever made. They tell them that
This is up there with the Manhattan Purchase as far as like bonehead maneuvers, right? You know those guys that are slowly taking over the whole continent? Here, hold me up. Hold me up. I got an idea. What if we just like brought them into Tejas? What do you think?
they're supposed to convert to Catholicism and learn Spanish. None of them do this.
Who, the Texans?
Yeah.
That's like part of their deal.
That's part of the deal to move into Tejas.
Hey, you Protestants,
Yeah.
give up your
Give up
faith.
your faith and learn Spanish, and we'll be all right. Nobody does this. Nope.
Well, you know what? Turnabout's a fair play now, I guess.
On top, they realize that they've made a mistake. So what do? They try to outlaw slavery, and because they know all of these people coming in from the U.S. are the Southern slave holders. So they thought, we'll discourage them. Instead, they rebel. So now, and there's people living there that desperately want to have the territory annexed into the U.S.
Yeah.
So now we get the Texas Revolution, Rebellion, whatever you want to call it, the Alamo, all that. Back down in Veracruz is Santa Anna. Santa Anna is one of these warlord guys. And he becomes famous because at one point, Spain decides they want to try and get Mexico back. So they actually send an army to invade from Cuba. And Santa Anna actually beats them. He's a military hero. He gets invited by a rebel group to
Yavin
lead
4.
them. And he wins, and he takes over the government and like turns it into like a military dictatorship.
Okay.
This is when the Texans rebel.
They're like, we're not following Santa Anna.
All right. Santa Anna will be elected president 11 times.
All fair elections.
Fair elections.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I actually think when he gets exiled, he spends some time on Staten Island. Just saying.
Really?
All roads lead back.
He invents like chewing gum or something.
What?
Yeah. I look this up.
On Staten Island?
That's off the top of my I think he
hold the fuck
He
up.
invents like chewing gum or something. See what it's some kind of candy.
Santa Anna was once exiled to Staten Island. Like his idol Napoleon, Santa Anna found himself exiled on several occasions after being deposed from power. Staten Island. Hold on.
So
Chiclets. He invents chiclets.
Chiclets.
Yes.
That makes
What?
kind of.
Yeah, he led to a modern chewing gum. No, he invented Tutti Frutti.
Oh, Rudy.
But that's still what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
But yeah. So he goes, he has his fateful encounter at the Alamo and then the Battle of San Jacinto, where he is defeated by Sam Houston. He returns to Mexico City in disgrace and is not overthrown yet, but he will be when in 1847 the United States goes to war with Mexico. Now this is Mexico's greatest humiliation. They land in Veracruz and they invade from the north at the same time. Mexico City will fall, and everybody knows this. Robert E. Lee was there, and Ulysses S. Grant. The Americans will humiliate Mexico and force them to lose like half of their country.
Yep. And be thankful it's just that.
When it's over, Santa Anna is ousted from power and will be sent into exile.
He got
Now-
the Napoleon treatment, and that's when he ends up on Staten Island and invents gum.
Yes.
My mind is just shattered from that. It really is.
This is when the next...
How do you wait? Real quick. How do you think that gets there? Do you think he just like I want to chew, but I am not hungry?
I have sneaking suspicion.
I have a couple of ideas. Around this time, there was two plants that you were probably chewing, cocaine and tobacco. It probably stemmed from like that.
Well, what is the chiclet made out of?
Oh, God.
Cocaine.
Just look up Santa Anna inventing chiclets.
I have it.
I mean, gum is like
Eventually,
pieces and shit.
like this is fucking mind blowing. So, Nikola
Tesla?
he was like,
He's
yeah,
hanging out with Santa Anna.
he like was like chewing gum is as dangerous. I swear, it was like Nicholas Tesla claimed excessive chewing gum was more dangerous than alcohol abuse. All this shit. Okay. Chicle, Cicle, became the base of the gum the world over, and it gave birth to a $19 billion industry. Eventually, chicle was overfarmed, leading to the use of alternatives. Adams and Santa Anna sought to replace rubber with chicle. In the end, it was the other way around. And they used synthetic polymers, a kind of rubber developed by a
they
Staten
wanted to,
Island
like-
chemist in 1909.
Wow. Staten Island chemists. Wow. Santa Anna.
Yeah.
Making chiclets.
The American Chicle Company.
There you go.
This is
Beaver cannot believe this.
This is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
The movie's worth it already.
All right. So when he's in exile, this is
I
when
got some fucking gum over here.
the next guy we need to talk
Hey, give
about.
up those cigarettes. Have some gum.
Chulis.
Yeah. Wow.
The next guy we need to talk about is Benito Juarez.
Yep.
He is in the movie.
He is.
Yeah.
What did he invent?
He didn't invent anything.
The pogo stick.
Whereas Santa Anna was kind of seen as this conservative guy.
And real quick, the conservatives in this movie, their actual conservative belief is they're just pro-monarchy.
Yeah.
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 They're pro-monarchy. They don't like, republicanism, and
No.
that's about it, really. They feel like the country needs a strong central leader, otherwise it will not function. And
They're not 100%
judging by what's been going on, they're kind of right. The liberals now produce this guy Benito Juarez. He had been in exile in New Orleans, hiding from Santa Anna.
He was his main political rival.
He's like a minor guy that would have been considered dangerous.
Anna was like, let's get rid of this guy before he's a problem.
He comes back and he stages a coup, takes over the government, and now they start to implement all these liberal reforms.
And they have a civil war, right?
There's always civil war.
Okay.
All of this is civil war.
Okay. It goes like without saying.
Yeah.
The conservatives, the liberals make everyone equal, right? They had this encomienda system where they had like race-based, privileges and things like that stretch back from New Spain.
Okay, so they're
Catholic-
carrying that shit way back.
Yeah, it's on
Like
paper-
mulattoes and
yeah,
shit.
mestizos and peninsulares and all that shit. The Catholic Church is also immensely powerful. They control the country.
Yeah, they're very Catholic.
Now
right?
that the liberals are in charge, they smash all of that. They make everyone equal. They
Oh, so that had still been going on. The liberals do away with that.
yeah, they break up church lands. But what they also do, and they didn't realize this was going to happen, is they raise the tribal peoples that are still in the country, like the old Aztecs and stuff. They have
Like ancient peoples that have
Yes.
still been there.
they own large tracts of communal land. And when they make everyone equal, they smash that and make it now individual lands. Now, this makes it very easy for big corporations,
Grab it.
especially foreign corporations, to come in and buy the land off these individuals.
So Nestle shows up and is like, we own this
Yes.
now.
You got
So
some nice land.
when-
I'm gonna take it.
The conservatives bounce back and decide to start a rebellion. They get all of these indigenous people to join them.
Because they're like, they
They're
took our
like our
fucking
fucking
land.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to throw a lot in with these guys.
It's a no-brainer. You have to.
And now it's another civil war.
I think anybody would in that position.
This is a big civil war. This lasts a while. And both sides are borrowing heavily from foreign powers, specifically France, France, England, and Spain.
No, America's not
America is busy.
well,
Civil.
but we're not giving any money or anything.
I'm sure,
got some civil
I'm sure we
strife.
are, and
We
I'm
got
sure
some
the
civil
strife.
I'm sure the corporations are doing their
Yeah.
thing. There's always
Yellow journalism.
there's always American interests in the Latin America.
Our interest is that Mexico doesn't fall.
And real quick, does none of this violate the Monroe Doctrine, or they're not South enough?
Oh no, this was all. They're not. The Monroe Doctrine protects against an army landing in Mexico and fucking attacking the place. Why doesn't it come into play in this movie?
Civil War.
The Civil War is happening. America can't do shit.
Okay.
We're busy. We got our own
All
problems.
right. And I know what happens after the movie.
Napoleon III understands this, and this is why he does it.
He's an opportunist.
I'll get to him in a second.
Okay.
Juarez will win the Civil War, but it's going to cost a ton of money. It's going to take time.
Debt.
The conservatives have racked up tons of debt with Europe. So has the liberals. In an attempt to stabilize his government and fix the economy, he will suspend payment of all of it
For 2 years.
for 2 years. And the Europeans are like,
No.
we want our money.
yeah.
Now,
Because they may not have a government in 2 years.
right. They've learned their lesson.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to talk about Napoleon III. So this is Napoleon Bonaparte's nephew.
How did he get power?
We'll talk about that right now.
Okay.
So in 1848, Europe explodes, the entire continent. There's revolutions everywhere. The guy Metternich dies, who was like the Austrian conservative.
Like the
bulwark.
shit in like Amadeus that they're talking about.
No, that's
before.
prior to the French. So the French Revolution fucked up the world.
Yeah.
Napoleonic Europe did it even more, and now
Everybody
the
wants a
backlash
revolution.
from that was conservatism reigned supreme all over Europe. And that was like this holy coalition of nations. They all worked to suppress any kind of liberalism and nationalism. And the monarchs, were in this cabal.
We need to work together, keep the serfs down.
When this guy Metternich falls from power, who was kind of like the guy in charge of stomping down everything, one by one, all of the European countries start to revolt and attempt revolution. It's called the Springtime of the Peoples, 1848.
Did England attempt this?
England managed to head this off at the pass. They saw what happened and gave the rebels what they wanted. This is
away.
when the monarchy loses all of its
Okay.
power, per se.
They become figureheads.
Yeah. In France, the rebels start hosting these banquets in honor of George Washington, and the government doesn't like this. So they try to stop.
I love that it's Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's for Washington's birthday, they hold like these parties.
They know. They
and they
know.
know this is a problem, they're going to start some shit.
did they invite
Yeah.
him?
He's been dead for decades. So they
He shows up. They got other problems.
That'd be a good movie.
So when they try to stomp out these banquets, the people go out in the street and throw up the barricades again and start a revolution. The famous quote is when France sneezes, Europe catches a cold. So
Okay.
Paris is in flames and
It spreads.
It spreads everywhere, all the way to Hungary and Germany and all these places. It will end with the rebels actually winning in France, unlike the rest of Europe. Everywhere else, the monarchs tend to stomp this shit
They
out.
win.
Yeah, but the French, they formed the Second Republic. This is the second. First Republic was the Robespierre and the French Revolution.
It worked out well.
The Second Republic elects Napoleon III as their president. He, like I said, he's Napoleon's nephew. He scares the shit out of Europe. So the first thing he does is tell everyone, "I'm not my uncle. You don't have to worry.
I'm not invading.
I'm not trying to take over the world."
That's not my plan.
But after 2 years in office, it's time for another election. And rather than allowing that to happen, he stages a coup and abolishes the republic. Now we have the Second Empire.
He's like, I'm not going full Napoleon,
The Second Empire.
Why are you shocked,
The first
you know?
empire being Napoleon's empire.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not trying to take over the world. Would
Napoleon-
I?
Is kind of a weird figure. He has some hits and some misses. He expands the empire massively all over the world. This is when Indochina comes into the fold, and places like in Africa, Paris will become like the cultural center of Earth. He widens the boulevards in Paris so that people can't throw up barricades anymore. And fights the Crimean War, which we talked
Charge
about.
of the Light Brigade.
Yep. And then
In
there's
fact,
this
the main like bad guy in this movie is actually in the Light Brigade.
Yeah.
He's in that.
He
Crimea.
was in the Crimea.
Yeah.
And in Africa and places like that. This Mexican thing. So he gets it in his head that it would be a good idea to take advantage of the United States being at war with itself and impose Maximilian Habsburg of Austria, the Archduke, as new king of Mexico.
As a vassal state.
As like a puppet, yeah, a French puppet. So he gets this guy on board. The conservatives like this. The conservative Mexicans have come to France and asked for his help.
That's actually in the movie.
Yeah.
It shows
It's like the first scene.
Both parties go to Europe looking for support.
This scheme is like use the crisis with the money to invade.
As an excuse.
As an excuse to invade Mexico, take over the country, and install a puppet state that France can pull the
Control.
strings from behind. And that's where we are at the start of this movie, after that long intro.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to set up, right?
Yeah. The movie doesn't.
So
The movie has like 3 sentences.
Yeah.
And they're in Spanish, and I can't read that fast. So
Yeah.
I had to hit pause.
me too.
The opening credits seem to go on forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually yelled at my TV. I was
Like-
like, all right already.
There's a lot of like title cards.
I have no idea what
year is
intro
this?
credits say.
This movie,
2012 or 2013?
I think 2013.
2013.
So
Yeah. And we see like we said, the opening credits. They give a little bit of backstory, but not as much as we just did. And it shows it's Mexico 1861.
yep.
Yeah.
There's a firing squad.
Fucking cool opening. They just show a firing squad. I very
Reminded me
rarely
of Duck
does
You
that
Sucker.
happen.
AKA a fistful of dynamite.
Yeah, how great is that movie?
That movie's fucking awesome. Shun, shun, shun.
And that's when I realized, oh no, they don't have a tripod in this entire film.
Oh my God. The fucking shaky
Dude,
cam.
I couldn't do it.
It's so bad.
It's a lower budget. They
They
could not
need it.
afford it. They cannot
Why do they
afford
need it?
tripods.
Because they're trying to
Be The Office.
no, they're trying to give you more of an immersive feel.
I
by,
get it in the battle
This
scenes.
was
Why do you need it when people are
This
just
was
sitting and talking?
2013.
It's very of
Yes.
that time period.
Yes.
Jason Bourne, shaky cam shit.
It's like
Yep.
watching The Blacklist.
I never watched the Black.
I haven't either, but my wife does, and that's what they do.
Yeah. So it says Juarez beat the conservatives, Napoleon III, and Lorenz. He sends Lorenz to Mexico,
Yes,
Yes.
to be the general.
and he says we're gonna win fast and blunt.
Yeah.
And this is what they say in the movie. Mexicans' plan. France's plan is if they win, use Mexico to help the Confederates.
Yeah.
They want the United States to be split up at war so they can take advantage of it through Mexico.
This
their
doesn't
plan.
seem accurate to
I
me.
don't. The movie would have you believe that Mexico saved America,
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
and that is nothing.
I feel like that's
even
nationalistic
close. Not even
propaganda, right?
Yeah.
I don't. This is obviously it's a secret plan.
Yeah. Did you ever hear anything
I've
of
never heard anything like
me either?
No.
If we're wrong, feel free to let us know.
No doubt about it. France having a puppet state on the border of the U.S.
It's not good,
is not good for the
which is why the second the Civil War's over,
Right.
we start helping Mexico.
We'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
And we see that there's some Mexican watchmen who are sleeping. Pretty.
I saw that and I was like, thank God this is a Mexican movie. I was like, if we made this movie and did that, we're like, oh boy. Oh.
My comment was ... Come on. like really?
So we meet Juarez and he goes to Zaragoza. Use
Zaragoza.
reason.
Ignacio Zaragoza.
Yes. And
Use reason.
don't let them take over our country.
Yeah, we get a map transition. A lot of map transitions. They're invading us. He says calmly, "You will be the right hand." I believe that's
Yes.
the
Yes.
line. So
But we
just
must
like
also
in this
prepare the
show,
left.
you'll be the right hand,
And-
you'll be the left, and I'll be the shaft.
We will stroke you.
me.
Yes.
So Zaragoza goes to Veracruz with General Pim, and the whole army is marching,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, they say that the Spanish troops can't handle the weather, and a lot of them get sick.
Yeah, don't they
the
say
European troops.
European troops, the Spanish, yeah.
don't they say it's black vomit?
Black vomit.
Yeah. Well, the Veracruz is in the southern Mexico. It's in the tropics.
yeah.
The Europeans are not ready for this. Every time a European army ends up in this type of environment, they
fucked.
spend at least like 2-3 months just dying.
They have to get used to it.
Yeah,
It's so
especially in like the 1800s.
So fucking brutal.
This like Napoleon tried to invade Haiti, to try and get the
Try to
the
get it
colony
back?
They all just died. They all got malaria.
Oh my god.
It's like, how do they even take it in the first place, right? I guess they
Right.
just have arms and the rest don't, so it's easier.
It's not always battle,
Yeah.
settlers and things.
But Spain sends half their troops back to Veracruz because they're on the coast, right? So they're awaiting these armies to land. So you have the Spanish, the English.
It's a
the
coalition of
French.
nations.
There's a bunch of nations coming.
Now, as far as the English,
A coalition of the willing,
yeah,
Right.
like our friend George W. said.
as far as the British and the Spanish are concerned, they have no idea about this hostile takeover plan.
No.
Do they got oil?
They want to take control of the Veracruz Customs House.
Oh, I thought they were looking for WMDs. Juarez is like, there's no WMDs in Mexico.
Mission accomplished. They want to take control of the customs house and just use the revenue from that to pay themselves off. You know, just take it.
Which is more fair.
As far as they're concerned, this is what they're taking over a city and using the revenue of that city to pay off debts to them. The British and the Spanish obviously are willing to go along with this. They've come all this way. Yeah. When France
I love the British guy they use in the movie.
He stinks. Yeah. He's such a bad actor.
We don't know
he's like the one British guy in Mexico.
He has the one line in English in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's the worst delivered thing I've ever heard.
Lines.
I can't remember what it was.
He goes, "Where you go? We don't have whiskey, but we'll have tequila." He goes, "I'm good with Mexican beer."
Oh yes.
So are we.
I'm good with Mexican beer.
And then another line, he's like yelling, and he says like, "We came all this way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got two
It's
lines.
so
They're
bad.
both horrible.
It's so bad. The acting was just
That
good.
must be how like Hispanic people feel when they watch like an American movie and it's like,
And there's a Mexican guy.
yeah,
maybe.
like that dude wasn't an actor, right? They were like, we need.
No.
It's like the one Englishman
There was a
living
guy-
in Mexico.
There's a guy on vacation in fucking Acapulco.
Come over here for a second.
That's his real hair, though. He looks like an 18th.
Yeah.
18th
They saw him on the beach like, we need this guy.
They kind of intimidate him, come over with like all the DPs.
Yeah, they sent MS-13 to
They get
recruit.
the key grip.
You gonna be our movie now, Holmes?
Put this on. They dress him up in the general. Say this line. One line. They're like, good. One take. Done. Get out. So we find out General Prim likes Mexico or Mexico. He enjoys that it feels close to home. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have such similar cultures.
And then apparently months pass
Yeah.
before the French land to collect their debts.
What do you mean?
Yeah, in the movie,
yeah.
they make it seem like a lot of time has passed
They say
before they
months
show
pass.
up.
Yeah. They say it says months. A few months pass, like 3 months, and then the French land to collect their debt. So I think the English and Spanish came first,
Maybe.
and then the
I'm
French
not
came
sure.
after.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because I wrote then map trends. I wrote a lot of map trends. Every time I got a transition with the map, I wrote it. And this is a map trends, but it's always the same map.
Yeah, they use the
don't
same
change
map
it.
again and again, which is fine.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
no problem.
So Prim actually will later on become Prime Minister of Spain.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, and he will become a Captain General of Puerto Rico before then.
So
So-
he was hot shit.
Yeah, he's a
Is
big
he the
deal.
guy in charge when the USA decides to rape Spain?
in the Spanish-American War?
Yeah, 1898.
That might-
no.
be a
no,
little
no
too
way.
far ahead.
No.
Yeah, I think he.
He's in office until 1870. He dies in office, so...
Yeah. So after the map trends, we see some preparing of a location, and the heroes of Oaxaca show up. Right,
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca.
Yeah.
Which is, I know it's not supposed to be funny, but the next few things that happen, I giggled.
Oh, when they blow up the Oaxaca regiment?
The Oaxaca regiment dies instantly.
Then a horrendous explosion and fire.
It's like they're here, they're the saviors. They're all dead.
Right. Well, they were the best fighters against the Americans.
Yes.
yes.
Now, do you think that was a sabotage, or do you think it was an accident?
The movie certainly has you believe it's a
It's a
sabotage.
sabotage. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Probably is.
Listen up, y'all. It's a sabotage.
And I think we meet our two main characters here. Two silly.
Well, they were there
soldiers.
from the beginning. That was the guy sleeping on
Yeah.
the job in the beginning.
Yeah, Juan.
But we meet them now.
Yeah, well, they get to do something.
Yeah, at first they're like they go to alert someone, and you don't know that the main characters. Now they're seeing a woman while they're moving a cannon.
Yes,
and they're
who
trying to woo her.
They're enamored with, and she's the most like basic 5 I've ever seen.
they could have got
so
a more
right.
attractive girl.
Yeah, I mean,
They have really hot
There's-
weather girls. They could have picked anyone.
yeah.
Anyone.
Oh, man, it's like a chick, like... from,
Selma
like,
Hayek didn't want to do the national epic.
Come on.
Come on.
Selma.
They should have got a girl from, like, 12 Corazones.
Anyone. So the names are Juan and what's the other one? with the A?
Amieta?
Yeah, something like that.
Is it Amieta?
Armida? Something like that.
Where is Alameda?
Something like that. Yeah.
Where they keep the nuclear vessels.
I wrote it more down.
Anyway, so the French are there with Almonte, Juan Almonte, who was a commander during the Mexican War of Independence. He was at the Battle of the Alamo.
He's an old guy then.
He's an older guy. He's in this thing, and he's trying to get France back to establish an empire. He's the main Mexican guy with them.
With the French.
With the French. Yeah. He's the bad guy's main Mexican.
Right. He's the conservative guy who wants the monarchy. And then parallel to him is our kind of hero, right? The general.
Zaragoza,
whose wife died.
She's sick with typhoid.
She died before this.
Before the
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they just put it in to make it dramatic.
They put it in because
it works.
Because she says, like, don't let them take our country. He gets there before this thing. And it's like, she died, and he's like, I'm going to stay.
I'm going to be an action hero.
Fucking Chad.
Yeah.
Oh, Zaragoza is so, like, likable and honorable. Like,
Yeah, he's
insane.
cool.
You love him.
He's
You're like,
insane.
this is the man.
Yeah.
Does a great speech later, too.
It's only 33 years old.
Yeah, he's a young man.
Yeah.
So Juan meets the girl.
But he had been a fighter in like the Civil War and everything.
Oh, yeah. He's
got tons of
experienced.
experience.
Yeah, he's been fighting his whole life, probably. So we find out about the Soledad Treaty, which I guess was like the treaty that no one would actually try to invade
I don't know.
Mexico.
Did they really talk about it in the movie?
Yeah, they mention it.
I probably missed it because it was all subtitles. I was trying to keep up. But we see that they're handing out beans and tortillas to the troops.
Yeah,
and
that's
how
probably
they,
good.
That's how they kind of see the girl and get a good chat up with her.
Yeah, they do the romance thing. The one guy
romance
Juan is in
thing,
love with her.
I felt was not romance.
You felt it wasn't romance?
No.
What does that mean?
Well, it's very much a Catholic strict romance in this. It's not very like real romance, at least how we see it in the States.
It's people under a situation where they think that their entire nation's about to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And they're being invaded. Everyone's going to die.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
What do you mean?
Last Mohicans.
Well, he's a superhero in that movie.
Okay, so the Convention of La Soledad
Yes.
agreed by General Prim as the Allied representative. It recognizes the Mexican Republican government, and it confirmed that Allied expedition had no interest in interfering with the ruling powers of Mexico.
Which is a lie.
It's a lie. It's bullshit. Which is why the British are fucking pissed.
Well, when they find out that France has all these ambitions to take over the country, the Spanish and the British just leave.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
Yeah, we're out.
But they're pissed because they came all that way for their money.
And they're mad at the French, but nobody really does anything
C'est la
about it.
vie.
And they're just like,
It's
all right,
not worth the hassle.
do your thing.
Yep.
We're not going to be a part of this.
Don't worry, we'll go to Africa. We got plenty of other
We got
places.
plenty of empire building to
Yeah.
go do.
We got plenty of other nations to exploit. I hear there's WMDs in the Sudan. What's Charles Gordon up to?
And we get this massive explosion randomly.
Yeah.
And it's a horrific scene from what they could do.
I think it's well done.
Yeah. There's a lot
This
of
movie,
fire.
this movie is big on maiming.
Oh yeah, and it's fucking cool.
But you know what? It's maiming on a small scale to give you the effect of something bigger happening. Like if they just show a maimed arm and then they show like fire, it's like, oh, a lot is happening. But because it's low budget, they do little tricks like that.
There's like
you know?
a graphic scene of a woman on fire and she's just burned
Yeah.
to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Well, it haunts Juan
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. But you don't
Well, no,
have
what happens
big-
later is what happens to his friend.
Well, before that, if you remember, he has a nightmare about the girl.
Yeah, he's definitely troubled by what he's seen, and that's why he's so willing to leave. Apparently.
So the gunpowder blows up. We get all that shit.
They say women and children died. And
Over
then,
1,500 are dead.
casualties. Yeah, we get a map transition with the president standing in front of the
Yep.
map this time.
And they do a
Was
conscription
this-
act.
Was this based in reality where like a random like attack happened?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to find out certain things about the movie because, like, usually what I'll do is I'll go to the Wikipedia page
Of the film?
Of the movie, and like what they mention, I'll click on it. But this Wikipedia page is so light, and like it's like in Spanish. Like there's not even an American Wikipedia page.
There's no translate button.
There is, but it's still
not good,
it doesn't be like. And then they went to New York, and there was the explosion in this place.
Right,
it
right.
doesn't do that.
Black Tom?
Yeah.
Right.
Black bottle.
Ooh, the black bottle.
So that's where we find rule number 1. Gunpowder is stored in the armory, not in your living quarters. Smart thing to remember, everyone.
Yeah, the Mexican army is not a professional army. They're like
Ragtag.
the peasants that they've drafted.
Well, we see that in the movie. They do a conscription act, and the Mexicans are fleeing backwards.
Yeah. Men aged 20 to 60 have to join the military.
France is coming up south to work their way north to Mexico City.
Right.
That's the French plan.
They're pretty much on the same route that, Winfield Scott had taken in 1847. Well, not 40, I think 48 or 49, whatever. The Americans.
Start south, work your way up.
From Veracruz up to Mexico City.
Yeah.
In the way is Puebla, which is
We should probably talk about the layout of the land in this area as well.
very mountainous.
Mountainous, and it comes into play later.
It's hilly.
Yeah.
You also see them when they're pushing the cannon. They're having trouble, and
In
it
the mud.
shows not only is it mountainous, it's fucking muddy.
Yeah.
And this will greatly benefit the battle. Probably, I feel like it should have been shown a little more, because if we know anything from the few movies that we've done in the past, if you have a well-positioned fort, you can kick some ass.
Well, it was well positioned, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that
Exactly.
after. I actually did a lot of research on this battle.
Oh, perfect. I'm so happy to hear
yeah.
that.
Did you?
Some. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I actually put like an hour or two into it.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I'm not an expert, but I think I know my shit about this one.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So
yeah, Juan's trying to
So
get
I do
the
like
girl.
this part where it's the Alcazito summit, and they meet up with them, and basically the French guy is so cocky, such a stereotype.
Yeah.
He's your typical like I fought in your general direction
Yes.
Frenchman.
Count Lorenz.
He's like, I'm going to conquer you, you
Give
inferior.
him the long hair.
Yes.
Every time he gets angry, give me some wine.
The real guy did not have long
No,
hair.
I don't know why they decided to do
Who
that.
plays the better Dick Frenchman? This guy or in The King?
King.
Oh, the King is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Like the real guy, like doesn't have long hair,
No,
like looks
he's-
like Fabio.
He's an American. He's a French general. The guy in this movie reminds me of the American cavalry guy from Zorro.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep. Yeah, you're right. That's what he's like.
So we meet the Tiger of Tacubaya, who eats liberal men.
Yes.
And they exchange words. how
Wait,
he's gonna
I
kick
saw
ass.
a guy like that in a glory hole in a men's room.
Is he Gaelic?
Is a Gaelic man who said, I eat liberal men.
Fuck. I'm not cutting that. That's staying.
No, that's good.
That's staying there. We get a map trans.
Yep.
How many we're on now?
I think it's the
A
fourth.
lot.
I maybe I should put like something in the corner right now. How many map transitions we've had? Like a little counter right about here.
So we get the first day of fighting on the 28th of April, where
Yeah.
the French die at a 10-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
The
you're
Mexicans are moving back, and they kill the French at a 10-to-1 ratio. A Mexican scout gets
It's like
at-
a raid.
Yeah.
Right. It seems like at this point I was worried about the battle scenes in the movie. This is away from the history and everything. Just the movie itself. There's like a cavalry charge, and it's only like 4 or 5 horses.
Well, this is a minor.
It's like a small skirmish, and I'm like, oh no, we're not going to get a big battle.
Let's talk about the production for a second. I think the costumes and the settings all look great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good. Some of the weaponry definitely bothered me. Like I saw guys on horseback shooting like long muskets, and that's just not possible. They use a musket as a lance at one point.
What would they have had?
Short rifle.
No one has repeating weapons in this, which okay. I mean,
Well, Mexico wouldn't have that.
I'm
right?
not. Yeah, they were using mostly like older stuff. The French should have modern things. Like no one has a revolver.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. There's a point in the
1860s,
movie
yeah.
There's a point in the movie. It's actually
I guess I missed it because I actually was thinking about it. It's like these weapons don't look right to me. They look a little too old.
It's in the fort. One of the guys comes out. I think one of the generals, and he starts shooting into the crowd a handgun.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's a revolver.
Okay.
A couple of revolvers.
But I definitely saw someone with like a pirate style pistol. And
That I didn't catch.
You know what? It wouldn't be too surprising though, considering where they are and the situation they've been through over the years. It wouldn't be too surprising.
Yeah,
Maybe it was a pirate. Who are you to fucking judge?
The Mexican
judge
army
my
was definitely
pirates.
using older things.
Yeah. To be honest, I never have the eye for that shit.
But this
I usually don't either.
Look, it's a cheaper movie.
Yeah, exactly.
These are they're doing the best they can.
And they did good.
You can't hold them to the standard you're holding Orion to.
It's just there's a couple of moments where the special effects are so bad that it actually hurts it.
Sure.
One of them is when they blow up the towers,
Okay.
which is laughable.
Yeah.
It's hysterical actually.
But now these
And then there's the other one where I think you were about to talk about it, where there's the French go on like this cavalry raid right before the Battle of Puebla, and I guess they're supposed to be caught in like a canyon because all of a sudden, Vietnam style helicopter fire starts fucking raining on them from the sky.
Charlie in the tree.
With tracers.
red tracers. Red tracers. And you're sitting there like, and they're like, oh, and you're like, wait. These are fucking like muskets. Like,
They're using the plug-in effects they have. Okay?
listen, I was okay with it. 10-1 kills is insane. You think the French would have probably backed out at that point, but they didn't. They try to shoot a messenger. He gets away. And I like this part. You have...
He arrives, right?
He arrives, and he says his thing, and they're like, this guy's going to die. Corny, but I liked it.
They shoot him and the horse.
Yeah.
The scout.
They don't shoot him. They don't shoot him. He dies. They just shoot the horse.
Okay, yeah.
Because they have to eat it, because the horse
Oh,
is...
that guy.
He tells them the French are coming.
So, yeah.
Oh, you
Juan-
bet. In your mouth.
Juan and Artemio. That's his name.
Artemio, yes.
Artemio is his name.
Artemio Hall.
They're having
I could just eat you up. You and your little friend.
Juan. Juan's having a conversation, and Artemio says,
I'm going to tear you apart.
like, they're like, Juan's like, we don't have enough ammunition. And he's like, we'll be in hand-to-hand combat before the third shot. And I was like, ooh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, that is cool,
That's a
yeah.
cool line. Like, because you don't really think too much about that in terms of the battle, where it's like, listen, I'm only going to get like a shot or two off, and I'm probably going to have to stab people.
Yeah.
Like, it's usually like, oh, you think they're going to stand in the line, shoot, reload, stand in the line, shoot, reload.
I like the combat because when they get close in this,
So
It's
good.
just
Sword-
a slugfest.
Yeah.
You know what? Also, I mean, I might be skipping a little ahead here, but I love the fact that they showed the attack and retreats of the troops.
The
know what I'm
battle
talking about?
when they finally get
the
to
battle
the
is excellent.
Fantastic.
it's awesome and it's accurate.
tactics
and
are-
it's great.
yes.
Yeah.
So fantastic. I can't wait to get there. I'm sorry.
That is the price of admission. All this shit
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking about, the preamble, is just like
It's disposable.
It's disposable. They're setting it up to get to this point
Yeah.
where like it's worth it, man.
So now Juan wants the dessert,
He does. He runs with the girl.
and Artemio's like, fuck you. But then he gets yelled at by the captain looking for Juan.
Go
He
get
covers
him.
for
Go
it.
get him.
Yeah.
He's like, if I find out he escaped, you cover for him, you're both dead.
Yes.
And now Art's like, fuck you, man.
This
All
is when the
right.
movie turns and is like,
This is the silliest thing in the movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is utterly insane.
and it's like, oh, we're turning the French into monstrous villains.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. We're like seeing these tropes
Yeah.
all the time, especially doing this show.
It reminded me of the burning of the church in the Patriot.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
it's
say
so,
it's so over the top.
yeah.
Like this wasn't happening with a captain of the French army. I'm sorry. Maybe infantry. Infantry would be understandable, but like a higher up where the
Yeah,
infantry's
he's-
like, this is not becoming, and he's like, I'm gonna rape a girl.
He's like, what? We're here to rape.
Yeah, that is why we are here. I cross a boat just to rape. In Europe, I rape, and they say, no, no, no. I come here, and I can say, oui, oui, oui.
What is happening here?
And then he does Mongolian fucking brutality. He captures the guy.
Wait. Before we get there.
What was this?
Why
Mongols.
It is so brutal. Like, it's the most brutal thing in the movie where you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, but then you're sitting there like, these are French.
Yeah, and Victorian French.
Victorian French. They're not doing Mongol torture tactics. This isn't medieval times.
They want you to hate them.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so over the top ridiculous. But I loved it.
So the French captain is going to rape the girl, and then the guy who covered for the other guys comes out of the background, shoots someone
Like a badass.
yeah, and then fights these guys.
Like 8-on-1, but
Right.
he gets caught.
The other guy rescues the girl.
Juan takes the girl and runs.
Right.
they leave. Yeah, they don't go back to
The
camp.
French end up capturing the guy who rescued them. Now they,
Oh, wait, he lassos a guy.
yeah, he lassos-
Lasso's
Yeah.
a soldier.
There's 2 lassoings in the movie.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what
and we
the
see
fuck?
him before that pick up the lasso, like
Yes.
this is my weapon.
Yep, this is what I got. I am the proud Mexican gaucho. I can use this. And he lassos a Frenchman. And he
The
gets
Frenchman's
2
like,
minutes
"Oh."
for roping. Do you know what that's from?
Is that from Dodgeball?
It's from Mighty Ducks 2.
Yes. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
So now
they
the
take
horse
ropes,
scene.
They tie it to each of this guy's limbs.
One soldier's like, this is barbaric. This is
Like,
unbecoming.
No, I
of
saw
a
this in
Frenchman."
Africa. It is great.
What?
So they tie ropes to this guy's limbs, and then the other end to horses, and then they pull him in each direction and rip his arms and legs off.
I fucking loved it. It was so brutal.
You're sitting. It's just like, what is happening?
And this was the heroic guy for the movie.
Yeah, Artemio.
They hang his body in a tree.
Yeah, and they hang him upside down. What's left of him?
for zero reason.
Just because.
Just-
we are animals and barbarians.
And Juan and the girl come back and see the body and freak out. And they're like, we got to go back and fight because he gave his life for us. Which I think it's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
There's
they want
romance.
this guy to have an arc,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's some romance.
Because he was terrified. And that's
Juan is a coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now he's got some steel in his spine and has to.
But he has
exact
nightmares of
vengeance.
this.
Yeah,
They show he has some PTSD, which I like this part. I like they show him.
It's like evil.
scared.
They film it though, like the Evil Dead.
Yeah, it's like horror, right?
Yes, which I
I thought it was brilliant.
dude, I'm like convinced that this director like loves horror.
Agreed.
And like I'm looking at his IMDb right now because I was like, I bet this guy has directed horror, and it doesn't look like he has.
It's so gory.
But like, dude, everything he does is like gory horror
Yeah.
shit. Like I like this guy.
I agree. And now Citlali wants to cuddle with Juan because it's cold. Classic move.
Yeah.
Map transition.
Oh yeah.
And now we find out what the armies are kind of bringing, at least number-wise.
Yes.
5,000 conservative soldiers are seen by Juan, and he reports it to the liberal army. Right?
It's May 3rd.
Just as far as numbers, I think the Mexicans have, what, 2,000 men?
Currently,
Yes.
at this position, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have about 10,000 approaching them. I
These
believe.
numbers are incredibly small for the time. I mean, if you look at what's happening in the United States,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
you know, at Gettysburg, there's 50,000 men on one side.
Yeah,
now.
it's
It's 10 times the amount, 5 times the amount.
well. Look, France is sending the
Well,
appropriate.
it's an invasion force that's crossed the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're sending the appropriate force they need to deal with this.
Now, what's the real numbers? Is this
The real numbers, I'm looking right now, anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 for Mexico,
Yeah.
and for France, anywhere from 6,000 to 6,500.
So that's not too big. If it's 5,000, it's not too big of a difference. If it's 2,000, that's pretty big. But you're still.
I'm
going to
assume it's probably on the smaller side.
You're still on a fort. Remember what happened when we were reviewing Glory?
Yes.
Like they you can kill thousands with only a few hundred.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not too crazy of a win here.
No, it's a stunning victory.
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They are
okay.
not expected to win at all. And honestly, they
'cause
should have
it's-
won. There's a lot of fuck ups that help them along the way,
Right.
which we got to talk about.
Okay.
Also, at this by this point in the movie, I think the French have all. I don't know if they say it in the movie, but in real life, the French have also landed a second invasion force further west.
Okay.
East, southeast.
I don't know if they've said that
No, I don't think so. But that is the force that will come into play
after the movie. Okay. So now we get they're at two forts, right? In Puebla,
Guadalupe, which is the important one.
and
My sister went to that school. Our Lady of Guadalupe.
and is
Do
it
you know where that comes from?
Guadalupe?
The Our Lady of Guadalupe.
No, I actually don't. Tell me.
So after the conquistadors conquered the Aztecs, they say, I actually think Mexico City has, if not the largest church on earth, maybe like the second largest.
Really?
Yeah. There was this Aztec guy who had a cloak, and all of a sudden the Virgin Mary appeared on his cloak in like out of nowhere. And this was the catalyst to converting millions of natives to Catholicism.
Wow.
And the cloak itself is on display in this giant church.
you can go see it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the church name is
Is Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Wow, that's cool.
That is
Oh,
cool.
Wow, learn something new every day, don't you? Captain throws Juan to the front.
Yeah, Juan.
Juan's
you're
fucked.
going right in the
Yeah,
front.
you're dead, bro. Sorry. And the general's like, we'll die, but we're going to take a lot with him. And Juan's like, really? This girl said if I live, I get a kiss. And that's this driving factor, and that's what I meant by the
We're gonna get
romance.
married.
The romance is stupid. Oh, if you live, I'll kiss you.
She couldn't
Have a
fuck
kiss
him.
now? No.
Well, that wouldn't be right.
The guy's about to die. What are you doing?
So we find out the French. We find out the French attack plan with General Amante, that they're going to attack the forts. They're gonna go in and basically kick some ass.
Yeah.
The Mexicans can see that they're there, so they blow up the towers.
And why?
And it looks spectacular.
I'm sure they're seeing it right now.
No, it doesn't look good. But the reason they did that, it's the only visual reference for
Of the
the enemy.
battlefield, yeah.
So it'll take a little more time to set up for the French.
It's for artillery.
And what happens? Map trans.
Yes.
So now we get an ambush that is going on where Mexicans have ambushed like a French squadron, I guess.
Yeah, I put well done visuals.
This is the Vietnam scene.
This is the Vietnam
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
I think that's the conservatives, the cavalry.
Okay.
That
Right,
gets
yeah.
caught in
they
this
get ambushed, yeah.
Yes. Hellfire.
gunfire from above.
Apparently, the Mexican armies had MG-42s.
They had MG-42s and air power. They had a couple of Hueys.
Flight of the Valkyries is playing.
And then you see like the French just celebrating, which is what they're constantly doing. They're constantly having like really expensive dinners and wine.
They're the comic book version of the French.
Yeah, it's so
Like
ridiculous.
rude assholes,
Yeah.
and like they're always drinking and partying, and they're
just
so
being
stuck
superior
up.
to everyone.
Yes.
Give a speech, and he does a speech. That's the
he's
I have this memorized.
he's
Yeah.
right. It's a letter he's going to write to the emperor.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He speaks about the superiority of his race and how he's the lord and master of Mexico.
Yes.
He's a count.
If you're a Mexican dude watching this, like you're in a theater watching this, you hate him so much.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they made him like just belittle your people. They made him a racist. Every unlikable quality someone could have, they put into him.
And now we get a culture song.
Yeah, we got a
applause.
singing song.
Yeah, I looked at my phone. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. It went on.
It went
for
on
went
way
on
too
too
a
long.
long time, right? They did a full song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure like it's a beautiful song, you know,
Yeah.
for them.
Translation was there.
But yeah, you know, it doesn't like do anything.
It's your
for me.
standard, old timey.
It's something you would see in a '60s movie, like
we
a
have-
song before the battle.
We have something similar.
What?
Country roads.
West Virginia.
See?
And then I like there's like a crazed Mexican guy, and he's drinking tequila and gunpowder.
Yeah.
The hobo.
Yeah.
He looks like a hobo.
That sounded pretty cool.
And he gives it to Juan. He's like, drink this.
Yeah.
Make you strong. Meanwhile, you just got poisoned by lead.
That's the real reason Juan doesn't make it. Spoilers.
So
He should have
cold.
said Mexican beer. I like that.
I'll stick with the Mexican beer. Like,
Can I get back to my holiday now?
you said we were allies. What am I leaving empty-handed? He looks at the screen.
So
Ridiculous.
So backup arrives. More Mexicans have come to reinforce Puebla.
2,000 men.
Puebla.
2,000 men, so they're up to about 4,000 versus like the 6 or 7 that the other army has.
Yes.
And
it's the day.
Now it's the day.
Cinco de Mayo.
5 mayos.
5 jars of mayo.
Hellman's.
Okay. So the General Zaragoza is praying.
Yeah. You are a religious man. Anything to help the battle,
Yeah.
you know.
And
And the French want to, well, the
Almonte
conservative guy, Almonte,
is like, we
wants
need to
retreat.
reconsider
Yeah.
this.
He's like 3 days no rest.
It's a
we
lot.
lost our flank in the ambush because the conservatives were going to flank with the cavalry, and they don't have
They
that.
don't have that anymore.
And Lorenzo's like, we're going to attack.
we're French. We're
French.
superior.
Yeah. And that's their
We are
their
the French
major
army.
mistake. Major mistake. They should have just waited and starved them out,
Yep.
just like we learned in El Cid.
And now Zaragoza gives a speech.
So good.
And
This is the best scene in the movie.
the speech,
The speech
Yeah.
is great.
I agree.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the best line? Do you know?
I just liked what he was talking about. He was like,
I
talking
can't
about how
remember it because it wasn't in
We
English.
have
You
this
wanna-
defeatism, and we need to get that out of our heads.
We have to be nationalistic. It doesn't matter what you are today. We are all
You
Mexico,
want your
basically.
dicks to get hard? You want your dicks to get hard? They will look up at this eagle from a pool of their own blood.
Yeah,
It
that was a
holds up the
badass
flag, and
line.
You're like, fuck, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah,
Now the attack starts.
Yep.
artillery barrage.
Artillery barrage. Now, let's talk about the real geography of the battle. All right.
Sure.
So
Got a big hill
it's a giant hill with the 2 forts on
on
top.
either side of the hill.
Yes. And one is Guadalupe and the other is Will Forte or something.
Will
I don't-
Forte,
Yes. Will Forte.
Nebraska.
Great movie.
I like Nebraska.
So they're on top of a hill. Now, it's not they don't make this geography clear in the movie.
No.
But it's actually
But it's
important.
there.
It's
if
there.
you know it, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the real thing is underneath the hill on like the flank. That's where Zaragoza is with all those Mexican men. They're protecting the flank of the hill.
Yeah.
So you really have the only way to
It's a hook.
It's
The
a hook.
French line is a hook. It goes,
Yes.
It goes around.
Yeah.
And they're attacking from multiple sides.
But the only way to get through the fort would be you would have to go around that Mexican flank or through the
which is
fort.
covered by their artillery.
Exactly. So the French are in a bad position, and where they're shooting from, they cannot do any damage to the fort.
They hit the hillside.
Yeah.
They
Their
hit the
artillery's
hillside,
not
and
working.
if anything does actually connect with the fort, it's superficial damage because it's barely getting there.
Right.
And they show that here.
They show it.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate to what happens.
Yeah.
And what I do love about this whole thing is they will show, the French will assault. They'll get pushed back. They have to retreat. Then they assault again from a different position.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's done extremely well.
Yeah.
And
Not all the troops succeed, and
Right.
you kind of see the fog of war is kind of lifted for the viewer. You
Yeah.
can see all the aspects of what's working, what's not. And you even see the French kind of panic at times, like, oh shit, this is not good, and then kind of feel better about it.
and it shows the different areas. Like at one
great.
point, they actually do make it up the hill and they attack the fort, but
Right.
they're pushed back from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very
they get
cool.
pushed back. Like they come in several waves during this battle, the French, and they
It's long too. It's like 40 minutes.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
never really make it.
This might be one of the longest battle sequences I've seen.
I mean, it's the whole move.
whole movie,
It's
the
why
whole
you're
point.
there.
Yeah.
You know.
And they say early on that there's Bedouin troops. Is that the folded orange headdress that these troops are wearing on the French side?
I think those are the Zouaves,
Zouaves.
which are like a French elite force.
Gotcha.
But Yeah, they would have pulled some men from the colonies.
Yeah.
From Arabia.
Yeah.
I was thinking more Algeria.
Okay.
No, they said Algeria, Bedouin, like a bunch of. They say it in there.
The Bedouin is just like a blanket term for the desert folk.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like us saying Arab.
Yeah,
Kind of.
Sure. Now, during this battle, there's a lot of chaos going on. Juan gets stabbed, but he beats the guy who stabs him to death with a rock, and it might be the most
So long.
overkill I've ever seen.
The brick kill is awesome.
It's a joke. It's a joke, right?
He makes Mel Gibson's hatchet
Look like a joke.
Yeah,
like child's play. Like I wish, please, if there's one scene you're gonna watch, please pull this up. He takes a stone and just goes.
Yes. Oh,
for about a minute and a half.
I also
No joke,
I
man.
also love when the dude's face gets blown off. You see like a shot,
tongue.
and like the tongue is hanging out of it.
Right to your point, horror.
It's straight horror shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
good stuff.
The
I loved it.
overkill is kind of like him losing his humanity. Like I'm no longer me. You know, he kind of like looks around like, yep, I'm a killer now.
So
Good scene.
now we get to the point where the Mexicans kind of charge back, and the French fall back.
Attack.
And they attack. Lorenz is like, "Get me wine."
Get me some wine.
We have a little French surrender, right?
They retreat. They're forced to retreat.
Yep.
And now this part, I have a gripe with the medical students that arrive.
Yeah.
How'd they get through? How'd they get
They
through?
came from the north.
They came from the
They're
north.
all
yeah.
surrounded, aren't they?
No, they're not
No.
surrounded.
Oh, I thought they were surrounded. Okay.
No, if
never
they were
mind.
They
surrounded,
can't be surrounded. The Mexican
Yeah.
army's preventing that.
I thought he takes the chess pieces and surrounds the fort.
They're on like the north and east. The west and south is in Mexican hands.
the only way to
okay.
get through Mexico City
yeah.
is you have to break this fort.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so that makes sense.
This is the roadblock to get to Mexico City. So med students could arrive from the north. Totally
Okay,
possible.
Cool. All right, that makes sense.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure these are real people that,
Yeah.
you know, if we were
yeah.
Mexican and knew, you know, every inch of this,
Yeah.
they're probably real characters. Oh, one thing that is in this movie that I've neglected to bring up. Zaragoza keeps talking about his general, Porfirio Diaz. And he keeps giving him
Yes.
jobs to do. And Diaz always wants to...
Diaz is like a wild man.
Yeah. Diaz will be the military dictator of Mexico in the future.
Yep.
He after, you know, all of this stuff plays out, he's going to rule Mexico for like 40 years.
1884 to 1911.
There you go.
Goddamn.
And then when he dies, it will kick off the truly large you know, event in Mexico, the defining event in Mexican history, which is the Mexican Revolution, you know, with Pancho Villa and all that stuff. The Zapatistas.
And that establishes modern day Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Diaz is a giant.
He's important.
Yeah.
And he's badass.
He's a
in
minor
this.
character in this movie.
Well,
But he's the guy who like wins the battle.
I like how he's handled in this.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the mad dog that Zaragoza waits for the right moment to turn
sick.
him loose.
He's
Yeah.
just rabid. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like he needs bloodshed.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So in the next scene, which is what we kind of brushed upon, where you have this retreat and this push, the French kind of take the frontline position.
Well, the French push Mexico back.
Right. So they take the front. And Lorenz is like, let's do a full-on attack to finish the job. Which he's like, what we'll do is we'll surround the fort, we'll split up our lines, which is like a huge mistake, apparently. Because that's when the Mexican cavalry comes in.
He sends in Almonte's men. Almonte's men charge.
They split up, though. They're like, you go to the
Yes.
north, we go to the west.
Now, this actually happened.
Really?
So,
Okay.
what happened is they were like, okay, it's not working attacking the fort. We need to send a troop into like where Zaragoza is on the flank. We have to break that flank, right?
Yeah.
As we're doing that, we're going to send men to the fort, right?
Yeah.
They do this. It doesn't work. It gets pushed back. So now they have the plan. Okay, let's do one final attack on the fort. And this is the problem that they don't say happens in the movie. The French actually ran out of artillery.
Yes. They run out of ammo.
They run out of artillery. So the reason the attack fails in the end is Mexico.
have no cover.
Mexico was down to like their last men, but they had no artillery cover, so they just get fucked up. And that's the real reason France ends up losing this battle is they
Yes.
ran out of ammo.
Yeah.
That's not as glorious, then. as the movie
I
portrays.
mean,
The
they-
movie is a propaganda piece.
Yeah.
They held their ground either way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it is true what happened. They're not like, oh, they ran out of ammo, we win.
Right.
You know, it's a less climactic victory.
Right. So it is a stunning victory, and it will put the French invasion on hold for quite some time. But the wheel of history turns. The French get reinforced, and after the movie's over, and everybody celebrates, the French will win this war, and they will take over Mexico.
Yes.
Benito Juarez, who is the president, has to.
He goes to El Paso.
Yes, he goes north.
He's basically on the border of America.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Can I?
yeah,
So basically, after America wins the Civil War, now we can focus a bit more.
on what's on the globe, on what's happening in the rest of the world.
Yeah. Okay. So now we could start funding rebels and,
Yeah.
we could start doing shit there. Now, the interesting thing is the ruler of Mexico at this time is a big reformer. Maximilian.
He's a liberal.
He's a liberal. And he establishes
He's now Emperor of Mexico.
Emperor of Mexico, and he establishes good things for them, like child labor laws.
He's doing liberal reform things
That
He
actually will help them.
He tries to go over to the rebel Mexicans, this Benito Juarez guy and everything, and is like, work with me.
Yeah.
But they look at him as, you are a foreign
You're a
invader.
colonizer.
We're not doing anything with you. Meanwhile, the conservatives hate that he is doing this liberal reform stuff.
Yes.
So he has no friends. Everyone hates him.
Everybody hates me, Leonard.
They don't hate you. You just gotta stop messing up.
And all of a sudden, mysteriously, giant shipments of American surplus weapons start showing up in the desert.
It's mysterious.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Or on the beaches, and notes to Benito Juarez and where to find them.
It's almost like the beginning of the CIA or something. I don't know. Holy shit. How long have we been doing this? Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
Juarez will use these weapons and money
Oh, that's funny.
to eventually win his rebellion.
Right.
And when he gets control of Mexico City
This is
again,
actually controversial,
he will kill Maximilian.
which a lot of people were like, that's fucked up. You didn't need to kill him.
could have sent him in there.
You could have sent him in exile and sent him away.
But he dies. He kind of I looked it up. I looked
supposedly-
it up in the past. I don't remember. I didn't do it this morning. I should have. But he gave a speech about his love for Mexico and
Yes,
its people.
him and his wife loved Mexico, the
Yeah.
people, and their culture. They actually gave up their European names and adopted Mexican names because they wanted to be closer to the people. Like her name was Charlotte, and she became Carlotta.
There you go.
That's bad hindsight.
Like they actually were not evil; they actually had good intentions.
And they were puppets in Napoleon's plan.
yes,
Right.
Yeah.
As for him, in 1870, he will be ousted by the Germans because there's this thing called the Franco-Prussian War. The new German Reich needs to solidify itself.
Second Reich.
It was, yeah, I believe so. No. Yeah.
It'd have to be.
Yes. Right.
Well, it's
New-
either the first or second.
Yeah, the new German Empire needs to get its people to all be on the same page because they've just unified, and they decided the best way to do that is to attack the French, and they will take Paris and depose Napoleon's government. He will be ousted from power, and his legacy will be dubious at best when this is all over. And history moves on. You got things like the Paris Commune, and I'm not going to get into that. So in the end, Mexico wins. Takes some time, but they get there.
Happy
Yeah.
ending.
This battle is really just a roadblock.
Yeah.
And let's talk about one thing in the movie which we did not mention. They say that this this win was so great. It was celebrated throughout the world in Mexico. President
This is in the movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
President Lincoln was so impressed.
letter.
He wrote a letter to Benito Juarez.
Yeah.
Insane.
That I'm sure happened.
Do you think so?
I don't think they ever met up.
No. They never met up. And,
He wrote it to thank them because he basically helped America like not spread like their southern neighbors to the south more and gain more power or something like that.
It would have helped.
Really, it would have helped the
You
Confederates.
saved America.
Yeah.
because the
No.
Confederacy
It was
would
like,
have
what
won.
are you talking about? Like, no.
And Lincoln was not getting through the entire South on
Right.
the rail all the way to Mexico.
There's no way they met up. In the movie, they meet up.
Yes.
He smiles like
Lincoln, Mexico,
man,
together.
The president looks out. Like,
We did it.
we did it.
And by the way, the guy looks nothing like
Nothing.
Lincoln.
He doesn't have a beard. It's like me. It's like what?
Like, who's a white guy around here?
happening?
You. Come here. You're
I'm the
Lincoln.
second white guy on vacation.
Put this fucking hat
Throw
on.
him in. Throw him in. He might have been the English general. We don't know. But yeah, that's the
Zaragoza
movie.
dies like 4 months after this battle.
yeah.
That made me
Typhoid.
sad. That made me sad. I'm like, really?
Did we talk about Juan dying?
Juan
Oh, yeah,
dies
he
in the
dies.
woman's
It's
arms.
not historically relevant because he's
No,
fake.
It's just
Fake
fake.
character.
Yeah, it's,
Um,
and it really isn't heartbreaking.
No, it's just like, oh, you didn't make it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't make it. Oh, yeah. And the woman's like, oh, no, you didn't make it.
Oh, well.
well.
Because I'll find a new husband.
Yeah, I knew you for 3 days. But yeah, that was the movie, and I gotta say, I liked it more than I expected.
It's not
I liked it more than I expected.
It's not bad.
It made me smile a lot. It shouldn't have. It wasn't supposed to be fun, but it kind of was.
I think the subject matter is really cool and fascinating.
Do we know what becomes
I love the
of,
battle.
of Lorenz?
He's fired.
The French guy.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
fired.
He loses his job
Yeah,
after
yeah.
this.
Okay.
He's shamed. They actually say it's like one of the most embarrassing losses for the French, like almost ever at that point. And there's like,
Well, there's going to be a lot more.
later. But up until then, it's pretty bad.
They've had a rough go of it, huh?
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Since then.
Yeah. So he actually, I'm looking now, he comes back into the military when the Franco-Prussian War breaks out.
They need everybody they got.
Yeah.
For that one.
And he leads a garrison and, they got shit going on.
Yeah.
But he dies in 1898.
Okay.
So
Long life.
1892, sorry. He has a long life.
Yeah.
So we've said all we really need to say about
I think
this, right?
so. I think we covered it.
I'd agree with that.
What do you guys rate this movie?
This is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard. Because it's not. It like I can't take any points for. Like I like to take points off for accuracy, and the accuracy is good.
Accuracy is good.
But the movie itself,
You feel nothing.
But it does
for these
its job.
characters.
it
You feel nothing for the
it's
characters.
just like who cares? Beaver's right.
you feel nothing for the characters. No, they're not like you don't remember them. You don't feel anything for the losses. I'll say this, for a low budget movie, it looked good.
For a low budget movie, it looked very good.
Yeah, for the budget it was
There's only
impressive.
like a handful of moments where it's like, oof.
they reached a little too far.
Yeah.
And I hate the shaky cam.
Yeah.
The shaky
I
cam
took
sucks.
points off for that. I think
I'm gonna give it a 6.
yeah, I was gonna say about a 5.5 to 6. I'll give it a 6 just because it was kind of more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wow, that's
I really enjoyed the
7's like a good movie.
that's good. Yeah,
I thought, look, they're dealing with budget limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to look past that. The movie promised me a battle.
you got
it gave you a
It
battle.
gave me a battle. The battle is fucking excellent.
Yes.
You're right.
Like,
Yeah.
like all the shit leading up to it is like a lot of table setting, and like I get it, but like even the early skirmishes are fine. The gore is fucking memorable.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Like it has cool, good enough moments,
And the history is good.
The history is awesome. Like I learned some shit like that I really didn't know.
I like that Napoleon III is in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
You
Like
get to see his mustache.
this movie has a lot of like good things going on.
Yeah.
Like
It does.
and like even with a bigger budget, I don't know how much better you could actually do this movie.
You could do it a lot better.
I don't know. The battle is like handled so well and accurate. It's like, and that's why you're here.
Well, there's a lot of battles that are handled pretty well, but the character development has to play a huge part in your movie. Like, what's Braveheart without the character development? It's nothing. It's it's important. And the fact that you lose one of the main people and you're just like, oh, wow,
But Braveheart
sucks.
is a different thing.
You know?
Braveheart is the story of a man. This is the story of one battle.
Right.
It's a different thing.
But you could
Those are
make
both
it
fair
better.
points.
You could make it
He's
better.
right, and so are you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, but like, look, if you did this movie, right, and you did it the biopic of Zaragoza,
Then it's a little.
it's a different thing. But at the end, if you're being accurate and it's the Battle of Zaragoza, Zaragoza is sitting in a fucking room
Yeah.
as everyone else is fighting.
Right.
So it's going to be anticlimactic then. You know?
Right.
Like, I really do feel like for history's sake, this is kind of the most accurate way to do this movie. And like
And it just would have benefited from.
a bigger budget and more gloss. But it's fucking Mexico making this, you know?
They did a good job. I mean, a 6 or a 7 from us is pretty fucking good.
Look, it's a movie I think you could watch and you're never going to be completely bored by.
No.
Like I said, the closest movie we've done to this is Charge of the Light Brigade. But Charge of the Light Brigade,
Which you hated.
the first half is fucking awful.
Yeah, it was bad.
The second half is great.
The second half is great. This movie, like the first half is slower, but it's never painful like that.
Right.
You
Definitely
know,
not, no.
it like they even sprinkle in some battles and shit here and there, and like the table setting is so good. You know, I
make a good
dug it.
case. You make a good
I dug this movie, and I don't think your scores are wrong. Like I think it's like 6 is respectable.
Yeah.
This happened to click with me. I don't know.
It is
You
what
know?
it is. It's not like your score.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I honestly,
I recommend watching it. This is something
this
to
is
really
worth a watch. Honestly,
it, yeah.
This Cinco de Mayo, kick back with some cervezas with like us, your friends, and
Mexican
reviewing
beer.
history.
I'll stick with Mexican beer. Now, I'm so curious because you said this is one of the movies that was one of the higher budgeted ones. I'm so curious what they could do with like $100 million budget. You know, because a
You don't
$6 million
need
budget gave you a 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Not for this movie, just in general, like the studio, studio itself. You know, like what could come out of that? I'm so curious.
Avatar, man.
The battle itself is not this glorious thing, you know?
No.
Like they said, like if it was a decisive victory that saved Mexico, which it isn't, then
Well, the movie presents it that way.
right,
Yeah.
and that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
But
Do not let them take our country.
It's look, this is a bigger like Mexico doesn't even really celebrate this holiday.
right,
It's an American holiday, and stupid Americans are like, it's Mexican Independence Day, bro. We celebrate July 4th. They must celebrate Cinco de
Right.
Mayo.
yeah, right.
Do they celebrate the 4th of July in Mexico for us?
Why would they celebrate
No.
the 4th of July?
Oh,
in
we
Mexico?
celebrate Cinco de fucking Mayo.
Yeah, we just want to drink.
Yeah, but there aren't a bunch of guys from Virginia living in fucking living in Acapulco.
Do you think in like the natives in like Cancun are like fucking grilling? They get their fucking George Foreman's out and just getting burgers and shit. Like they just worship it.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the 4th of July is Joe Toy Day.
Ah, yes. Put him a mile away from Hitler. What did he say? That's an obscure reference.
Yes.
Show Toy Day.
Well,
My friend once, she was buying clothing from a Mexican establishment.
I thought I'd get away from it.
Punto de Mayo.
I thought you were going to bring up the urban sombrero.
Oh, the urban sombrero. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, she appropriated Mexican culture and came up with the urban sombrero you could wear around Manhattan. But no, she was going to this one Mexican,
Right.
and they gave out free salsa.
Yes, she got her friend H.P. Pennypacker to come. He's a wealthy industrialist.
Yes.
He was going to open a silver mine in Peru.
Yes. He accidentally left Sicilia packs in the salsa of Punta de Mayo, and people got very sick. Poison control, some people had to call.
It's a real plot.
It's fucking hysterical.
All right.
Well, there's-
Wrap it up.
There's one last.
That's the wrap. That's the
There's
wrap.
one last order of business.
I want to look at the drawing first.
I didn't do one. So hold on.
What?
Hold on. The movie was so fast with the subtitles, I never had a second. The movie's just going, and I'm like, fuck.
I have the same problem.
Let me get a pen and let me write this wrong.
You're going to draw them right now.
Right now.
Please write the wrong. Yep. Yep. Go for it.
Can we put the camera on it as you draw, like Bob Ross?
Happy little trees.
We can see Brian's technique.
I would love to see his. I'm pretty sure that will catch his technique if he does it correctly. But that was a painful disappointment there.
What?
Not having a drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's. You got a pen?
He's back. We're back.
But do you remember we saw Ace Frehley in Allentown?
Yes.
And I was like, we're back in the Allentown groove.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He
Anywhere
said
you go.
Allentown.
He said Allentown
Yeah,
Groove.
yeah.
What's your favorite Kiss song, Steve?
Everyone has one, even thugs.
Wow. That's so difficult. It's a toss-up.
Okay.
I really like Creatures.
Creatures of the Night.
Yeah. I really like Strutter.
That's a weird pick.
I don't know. It's just maybe from Guitar Hero. It just popped in my head.
That's a song like I never need to hear again.
Because you've heard it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's great. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's a good rock song. Do you know that was in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
I would say Creatures. I'm sticking with Creatures.
Creatures of the Night, best Kiss song.
Dude, it's fucking Creatures.
Hard to beat. That's one of the best
And
ones.
it's like fucking fantastic.
I like
What are you going for?
I like Love Gun.
Dude, Love
And I
Gun's so
realize
good.
that's a hack thing to say too.
It's not.
But it's so good.
It's so good.
Creatures is up there.
Dude.
When
pick
they
any
rock,
song
they
from
rock
Creatures.
hard.
They do. And it, you know, like, you kind of forget sometimes how hard they can go.
Yes.
Creatures is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And that's somebody from, like, you guys actually like Kiss way more than me. And I still can respect it. Like, I respect the fuck out of Creatures.
I love Kiss. And Kiss loves you.
But if you want to
Thank you,
give me,
Paul.
if you want me to give you the top three, it's Let's Put the X in Sex, the bonus track off of
Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits.
Yeah.
Let's put the X in sex is good. What about
good.
Down on Your Knees?
Isn't it the same song with different lyrics?
No.
Oh,
Down on Your Knees is a different song.
it's the same thing, really. All right, you drew something.
I drew something.
All right, you gonna give it? You gonna give it over? Is it the number 5? Jesus H fucking Christ!
This one's a little tricky.
You drew Aladdin. That's the towers in Aladdin with the carpet ride.
I drew Agrabah, you saying?
Am I wrong? Like, but the people are falling off the carpet.
All right, I recognize that's the hill with the 2 forts on it.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure what's going on otherwise. It looks like some men have ridden a sleigh down a steep hill and are now like they're in midair.
is that the artillery? What is that?
And then there's a bunch of X's on a building. Is that like a burnt out building?
So that building is actually where Zaragoza was, on the flank of the hill on the Cinco de Mayo.
If Brian figures out how a battlefield map works, fucking all bets are off. He's gonna.
That was it. That's the battlefield map.
What are these men in the sky?
Where in the sky?
What's going on
There's
up here?
people floating.
What's up here?
Oh, on the top corner? That's the other side of like the hill where the French are.
Brian's like, I gotta do a topographical map.
Tales from Topographical Ocean.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
That wasn't the worst.
Can we
we've done,
finally end this show?
though. Yeah, I think
It's
so.
time.
All right.
I think so.
All right.
All right, well, thank you for listening. And what should the fans
Perceivers.
Perceivers. Like and subscribe. Do all the fun stuff that you like to do when listening to podcasts or
Do
watching
whatever
them.
you want to do.
Paul Stanley thinks you should watch the show and enjoy it.
Reviewing history loves you. Imagine I took the mic and just started smashing it.
Fuck yeah, I'm coming out to see you.
Right on
Sounds like Dr. Roxo from Metalocalypse.
What do you think Dr. Roxo's doing? He's Paul Stanley.
Yeah, but he's real close to it.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. All that jazz. Ring the fucking bell. NordVPN. Raid Shadow Legends. Brian's now going to talk for an hour and a half.
Button.
Go for it, Brain.
Want to give a big thank you to everybody watching and or listening. Want to give a thank you to Tell 'em Steve Dave for letting us record down in the studio. Walt, Bry, Q, get him. Thank you guys so very much. Want to give a thank you to my co-host Ann and Steve for joining me on this Cinco de Mayo.
The fuck?
I want to thank you guys for your work.
Well, you're not welcome.
Thank you for your
I
work too,
appreciate
Brian.
it. You know, I think we don't say it enough. Thank you guys.
That's nice.
Yeah. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Enjoy the holiday. Kick back with some cervezas. Watch this movie. Relax. Join your friends at Reviewing History with a nice old
Have a good
barbecue
laugh.
Go to the
grill.
website. How about that?
Yeah, have
Yeah,
a
the
good laugh
website.
at
Go to the
Mongolian horse
website.
torture.
What's the website
Buy
called?
merch. ReviewingHistoryPod.com.
What's the website called?
ReviewingHistoryPod.com.
What's the website called?
ReviewingHistoryPod.com.
/merch.
/merch. / that merch, baby.
Don't slash it. Buy it.
Follow us on all social media, Reviewing History Pod everywhere, Review History Pod on Twitter. Follow me personally on Letterboxd, Brian Rupert with 2 P's. I rank and review every single movie I watch. All social media, that's my name. I'll see you guys next time. Adios
responsibly.
for Revenge of the 5th. Don't worry, guys. Tomorrow is Revenge of the 6th.